Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Before we dive in, let's do a quick tech check. Please drop a plus in the chat if both sounds and video are working well for you. So please give us your reactions to check that everything works properly, and we are ready to start. Actually, we are about to get started. While this quick tech check, you can make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of tea or coffee to prepare for this session. Okay, I see the first reactions, so everything works properly. So let's get started. I'm Christina and I'm a partnership manager at Ispirer, and I will be the host for this session. And as you may know, we are launching a series of webinars on migrating from Sybase, ASE, to other platforms, and today we are focusing on CockroachDB as the target, and we are glad to have the CockroachDB team here on the webinar. So feel free to ask them your questions in the chat if you have any. They will be happy to respond to your questions. Joining me is Anastasia. Anastasia is our Ispirer technical pre-sales expert. She will help us determine whether this challenge, moving off Sybase, truly exists and how to address it. Hi, Anastasia.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Anastasia. I'm working as a technical pre-sale specialist at Ispirer, and with a direct experience from live migration projects, I support customers in designing efficient, secure and scalable database migration strategies.
Thank you, Anastasia, for this intro. And guys, before we move on, please share a bit about yourselves in the chat, who you are and what you do. We will be happy to learn more information about our audience. And meanwhile, I will walk us through today's agenda. We'll start with the reasons for moving off Sybase, and then we dive into migration strategies and explore CockroachDB as the target platform. Also, we'll wrap up with a QA, so feel free to add your questions to the chats anytime, and we will cover them at the end of our session. So I believe we could move on while our audience is responding to the question. So Anastasia, let's start with a big picture. Why are we even having this conversation today, and what makes this year different from the ones before?
I believe that the short answer is that the world has moved on, and SAP ASE hasn't kept up. So here are the main reasons for this moment feels urgent. I believe, and the first one, that the mainstream support for ASE 16 officially ended on December from that 2025. Now you're like in a special customer-specific mode. SAP won't give a regular security patch or fixes anymore. And if something breaks because of a new operational system update or a hardware change, you have to fix it yourself or pay a lot for customer help. That alone changes the risk profile significantly, I believe. At the same time, your annual maintenance fees keep going up every year, and ASE hasn't gotten any big new features in years. So you're paying the full price just to keep the old system running with no real improvements. Fast forward to today, I believe almost every forward-looking company is building AI use cases with things like RAG or smart agents, and does need vector search and AI tools built right into the database. But as we all know, ASE doesn't have that, and modern databases like PostgreSQL, Azure SQL, or others do. And with ASE, you have to move data out manually to another system for AI assistance, and it's slow, complicated, and expensive, I believe. With mainstream support gun, security patches arrive much more slowly or not at all from ASE, and hackers really love old system, yeah, because they are easier to attack. And in addition, fewer experts know Sybase these days. Many are retiring, and new people aren't learning it. So if your main expert leaves, yes, fixing problems becomes very hard and costly. And SAP might suggest, yes, moving to new version 16.1 that will be supported longer, maybe to 2030s, but it's basically the same old system with the small fixes maybe. So you spend time and money moving, but you still miss modern features like easy scaling or AI support, and it's just delaying the real change.
I see. Actually, I know that some companies prefer to step back a little bit and see what happens. So, what do you think about this strategy?
In that way, I think that the main thing is the problems don't stay the same. They get worse over time. So security risks keep growing. More time between new threats and any fix. Cloud bills stay high because ASE can shrink during quiet times. So you pay for full power all day. Migration gets harder and more expensive because more old code, more custom fixes, yes, and more testing needed later. And your business moves slower too, because you can't easily use new tools for analytics, for AI assistance, or any automation. So waiting makes everything just harder. It doesn't make the problem go away, basically.
I believe we could sum up that waiting only increases risk. And if we agree that staying isn't ideal, the next logical question is where to go. What options do we have actually?
Mm, there are, I believe, several modern options. In 2026, the first one it will be the PostgreSQL. Yes, the second is CockroachDB, sometimes Oracle database, Microsoft SQL Server, and any others. But today, I like to focus on one of the most interesting and increasingly popular choices among companies moving away from the legacy RDBMS platforms. It's the CockroachDB. And CockroachDB is a distributed SQL database built from the ground up for the cloud native environments. It speaks PostgreSQL via protocol, which means most of your existing PostgreSQL compatible queries, maybe drivers, ORMs, will work with a few changes, if any. So I believe now we should look on the advantages and disadvantages. And let's start first with the pluses here. And the first one is the automatic horizontal scaling. Yes, you can start small and grow across the dozens or hundreds of nodes without manual shading or complex rebalancing. It just works because it's really perfect for the global applications or unpredictable workloads, or when you want to eliminate the single points of failure. The second reason, the second advantage, yes, is that the data is automatically replicated and survives node, rack, availability zone, or even full region failures with a near zero downtime. So multi-region deployments become straightforward, not a multi-month project. It's also PostgreSQL compatible. Yes, you get most PostgreSQL syntax like data types, extensions, maybe tools or ecosystem. So your team doesn't have to learn a completely new database language. And CockroachDB Cloud offers automatic backups, so point-in-time recovery, managed scaling, and self-hosted is also possible here if you prefer to run it on the virtual machines. But as all of us know, there is no platform in the market that's perfect. So you also need to consider the disadvantages here. It's because it's distributed, there are additional concepts that a single node PostgreSQL doesn't have. CockroachDB Cloud hides most of this complexity. You mostly manage it like any other cloud database. But also not every PostgreSQL extension is supported yet, while, for instance, pgvector, yes, works great. CockroachDB offers also native support for any hard cases and extensions, but some very niche and very new PostgreSQL extensions may require workarounds or aren't certified. But there is a good news also, the compatibility list grows quickly, so it's not a big problem here. And maybe let's sum up. It's not the only good choice to move to the CockroachDB, but CRDB shines when reliability, global reach, or future-proof scale are high priorities.
Thank you, Anastasia. And actually, I'd like to remind our audience that if they have any questions about the target platforms or any other, you can drop them in the chat. And also, we have the CockroachDB team here on the webinar, so you could ask directly them about CockroachDB and other interesting questions that you have on your mind. And actually, choosing the platform is step one. And the harder question is, how do you actually migrate? What we can offer here?
I believe there are several options, the two of them. Yes, that's the manual and automatic conversion. And if you talk about the manual conversion, manual migration, yes, it means that your team rewrites every table, every procedure, trigger, query by hand. You also move data slowly and test it yourself. In 2026, for medium or large systems, manual migration is usually not so realistic. It takes too long and costs way more and has a high chance of mistakes in important business logic points. So yes, let's be honest, it's not so good option to manually migrate your database to a new platform. So that's why the automation migration is a really good choice. And automation with Ispirer SQL-based tool changes everything. It automatically converts a high percent, around 80-90% of your schema. It depends on the direction that you prefer. It converts on not only the tables, but also stored procedures, functions, triggers, and data. It understands the Sybase specific code, like special date functions or loops, and it turns it into the working code fast, often in maybe weeks. Yeah, maybe it's not about the months. Data moves quickly too. So you still need to check and fix the code after the migration, but it's much easier and faster when it's all converted.
Okay, I see. And Anastasia, it actually sounds very interesting. So maybe it's time to see how this works in practice. And can you please walk us through the migration using SQL ways? Could you please demonstrate the tool?
I'm going to walk you through how SQL-based tool helps with the migrating from Sybase ASE to CockroachDB, both for schema and code conversion, and data import. We will look at the current capabilities, see examples of the converted code, converted objects, and at the end of this, I'll run a quick live demonstration to show the tool in action. Also, please feel free to ask any questions at any point in chat. We will review them after the demonstration too. So first, a quick status update, I believe. We have fully implemented this direction, Sybase to CockroachDB as a migration, yes. Among the recent additions are a proper conversion logic for procedures, both a single and a multiple result sets, also correct import of data into datetime and small datetime columns, support for user-defined data types, adopted trigger conversion, taking into account the CRDB specifics, and nature, and any others too. So now let's look at the patterns the tool already handles automatically and quite, I believe, reliably. I'll show several typical cases with the before and after quad. It will be the rollback triggers conversion, the cursors with the parameters, cross-database references, and procedures with the multiple result sets. It's not the only cases, constructs that we support. It's just the most common and hard for the conversion options that we already suggest for the automation in our tool. So let's start with the rollback triggers, I believe. One very common pattern in Sybase is using rollback trigger inside rollback transaction, inside the triggers to enforce the business rules. CockroachDB does not allow the transactional control like rollback inside the triggers. So that's why we have the option command transaction, which is the recommended setting here. When it's enabled, all begin transaction, commit, and rollback statements are commented out in the target code. The target body also stays syntactically correct, and the original logic is preserved in comments, and nothing breaks at runtime. On the left, you can see the original Sybase trigger, source code, and on the right, what SQL Base generates for CockroachDB. So let's move on to the conversion for cursors with the parameters. It's another frequent case, cursor-based row-by-row processing procedures, yes. Sybase use the SQL status to control the loop, but CRDB doesn't have an equivalent found indicator in for cursor loops. So that's why we convert parameterized cursors using the ref cursor pattern in PLPG SQL style. For simple cases, it works directly. For more complex while fetch loops, we usually need to refactor them later to set base logic. Again, at the left side, you can see the source code, and at the right side, the converted version. Let's move on to the third option. That's the cross-database references conversion. And Sybase developers, often use the three-part names to access objects in other databases on the same server, but CRDB has no native three-part naming and also no debugging support here. So that's why with the option convert debugging to schema turned on, the tool rewrites those references as schema qualified names, and DB name becomes the schema name. CockroachDB fully supports multi-schema database, so this approach works clearly without any fixes. At the left side, the source code. At the right, the CRDB output with the option enabled. And the final one, it's the conversion of procedures with the multiple result sets. Procedures that return multiple result sets are quite common in Sybase. In CRDB, the supported way is to map each result set to its own ref cursor out parameter. The caller then fetches from each cursor separately, and for the single result set procedures, we can also use the table return style if preferred. And here on the left, the Sybase procedure that returning two selects, and on the right, how it looks after the automatic conversion with this option turned on. Of course, not everything can be converted automatically. So there are several constructs that fall outside the current scope of automatic conversion. There are dynamic SQL and dynamic cursors, complex nested cursors loops that depend on found, low-level transaction and locking controls, and rollback or rise inside the triggers. These cases require manual redesign right now using CRDB native patterns. But if you have such code, the best next step is to share representative samples with us, with our team, so we can just evaluate what we can suggest, and do with this case to automate it in our tool. Looking ahead, near-term priorities include better handling of read-only cursors used only for retrieval, converting them directly to a single select opened as a ref cursor, and improved support for temporary tables inside the procedures. How much of this can be fully automated always depends on the real cases, on the real complexity of your code. So the more examples, yes, you share with us, the more accurately we can tune and extend the conversion engine for your personal needs. And now I believe let's switch to the live part here and start with the SQL Ways live demonstration. So that's the SQL Ways tool, the main page of it, with a list of already created projects. And also here you need to provide the license key if you open this tool for the initial time. That's the appropriate window where we need to enter your license key and register it. And after it's successfully done, we are able to create a new project and start the migration activity. So to create a new project, we need to click on the appropriate button and provide the name for the project first. And after that, select the ODBC connection to the source technology. So that's why I need to highlight this thing. Our tool works with the ODBC connection only, which means that you need to tune and configure the ODBC connection to the source technology right before you start the migration activity, right before the creation of the project here. So after the tuning ODBC connection, this ODBC connection will be listed on the drop-down list. You can just select it and provide the username and password to it. After that steps, we can test the connection, see that it's connected successfully, and we can move on to the tuning target technology here. From the drop-down list, we need to select the target destination. Yes, in our case, it will be CockroachDB as a target, and provide appropriate credentials to be able to perform the import process, the import phase to this target database. So I've prepared for this webinar right before, and I have already created project with already selected and converted objects inside. As you can see, it's not only tables, but also we use functions, procedures, business level objects here too. So all of them converted successfully with 100% of them, and we can just start the import process. As all of you might know, the migration process is divided into two main steps. The conversion process, where our tool connects to the source technology, extracts information about the selected objects, their definition, dependencies, references between them, select them from the system tables and views with the help of appropriate rules for the migration, convert them to an appropriate syntax for the new target database, and automatically generates SQL files with the converted code inside and TXT files with the data. So after that steps, there is the import process. And with the help of native utility, our tool performs the import, while which all of the SQL files and TXT files just imported to the target database. So as you can see, all of them converted, and we can start the import process. But first, let's check that our target schema, target database is empty. There is no tables, no views, no functions. Here is fully empty. And let's start the import process by clicking this button. The time that will be spent for these steps just depends on how many objects you select, how complex cases, how complex constructs inside these objects here. So it can take time for the conversion and for the import too. So also, I believe I need to highlight that we have a great advantage of our tool, that we can easily extend the conversion rules and adjust new features, new fixes inside the tool score engine. We already have a huge list of the features that are already available in our tool, and all of them listed on the settings page with divided to the sections for the appropriate field. That can be a common options, the options that just for the CockroachDB as a target, some common of them, and any others. It's not all the options that we have. We have a lot of them, and it's really hard to list them all in this page in one window. So we have another website with the list of them. You can just find anything that suits you best, that suits your needs and personal, maybe goals, and add these new options to the project and tune this activity for your needs, I believe. So while it's imported, maybe there are any questions in chat.
Anastasia, yes, actually, we have a question. And the question is, can it migrate to Amazon Aurora instead of CockroachDB?
Yes, I get it. So yes, our tool have a huge list of the supported directions, and we can migrate to the PostgreSQL as well as a CockroachDB, and also to its cloud native flavors like Amazon, Aurora, Google AlloyDB, and any others. So it's supported in our tool too.
Okay, thank you. And while we are waiting, I have a few questions. How much manual work is typically still required after SQL Ways converts 90-95% of the code?
And that's one of the most common questions, I believe, about our tool and the main process of the migration. Yes, the exact level of automation typically depends on the migration direction. Yes, once again. And the highest automation rates are usually achieved for the most common and well established migration directions, such as Oracle to PostgreSQL, SQL Server to PostgreSQL, and similar widely used combinations. All supported directions in SQL Ways are developed to a strong and reliable level. I need to highlight it. And it's also important to clarify that what the 90-95% of automation rate actually means. If your case shows 90-95% of automation conversion, it doesn't mean that only 5-10 out of 100 functions need to be reviewed. Rather, it means that 90-95% of the individual unique code constructs were successfully converted automatically by our tool. For this reason, after a successful automated conversion, your team should still review each converted object, test it, and verify that it behaves identically to the source implementation. So this includes validating store procedures, functions, triggers, and other database objects. The time that is required for this stage depends also on the complexity and the number of the objects in the migration project. Yes, however, even with the necessary review and testing, the process remains significantly faster than performing all this activity manually by your team, often by orders of magnitude, I believe.
Thank you, Anastasia. Actually, a few people told me that my sound is lower than your sound, so sorry for that. I'm trying to fix it, but in general, I believe that Anastasia's voice is more important during this session, but I'm trying to do my best to fix this issue. And could I ask another question? For a medium-sized database, what is a realistic timeline using SQL Ways, your services versus doing it fully manually?
That's also a good question. But may I ask you to come back to this question after the live demonstration? Yeah, because it's imported already.
Okay, great.
So let's move on to the live demonstration. As you can see, all of the objects imported successfully with 100% of successfully import. So let's refresh our schema and see that all of the objects created successfully. All the tables, all views, all functions and procedures are here. So that means that all process ended up successfully. Also, our tool automatically generates some log files with the detailed information, so you can just review each process more in detail and see, in case of any issues, what's going on, or why this. What is the root of this issue? And also, you can share this log files with our team if you need to maybe some support with the analysis or maybe some suggestions of how to fix any issue. So I believe that's all from the live demonstration. Yeah, and we can move on to the main speech. And also, in case of any questions, I'm here to address them. You can type them to the chat, and yeah, we will answer.
Oh, sorry. We back and I see. As we can see that SQL ways. Anastasia, first of all, could we turn to the question I've asked previously?
Of course, it was about the medium-sized database, yes, and the difference of services and manual conversion. So providing an extract timeline based on numbers, is really difficult on this stage without understanding the additional details. But the overall effort depends on the several factors, including the migration direction, as I already mentioned, the types of database constructs used, and the complexity of the logic inside those objects. So to help with this type of evaluation, we provide another tool that's called Ispirer in Sybase. It's all free and it was developed for the assessment step. This tool can run either with a direct connection to the source database or along with a database scripts. Based on this analysis, the tool generates some reports that helps us to estimate the automation level, the potential maybe manual adjustments or some customizations if needed, and the overall project scope. Importantly, inside Base, yes, it's completely free. I need to highlight it. And for instance, if the migration direction is one of the most common, well-optimized ones, and the code is really simple inside your objects, then the migration process can move quite quickly, I believe. But the timeline would still include not only the clicking on the button convert inside the SQL Waste tool, but also the testing process, the validation, and other testing checks, fixes that should be done manually by your team. But this stage is usually manageable and efficient. And on the other hand, if the migration direction is less common, or the database contains more complex, more unique, really hard cases of logic, maybe system level objects, unusual constructs, the number of manual fixes, manual adjustments may increase, and this can extend the timeline of the conversion process. So in summary, the best way to accurately answer to this question is, yes, to provide maybe some assessment step before, some metrics about your database, some information about the migration direction and any other points. Or you can also reach out to our team to schedule a discussion, a meeting with our team to review your needs, your requirements, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. And I believe at this stage we could mention that in our future sessions we are going to cover Insight Ways at the session, and we will talk about it a little bit more. So from the demonstration that you have shown to us, we see that SQL Ways can handle the migration, but what if I don't have a team to manage it? What can you offer me?
So let's start with that. Our SQL Waste tool is a standalone product that we can provide to your team for the conversion process. So you're not left alone with it. We have an excellent support team that's ready to help with the setup, process, installation, and fixing any issues that come up. So this is what you get simply as a part of license option, the tool with our support team on a common issues. One of the biggest advantages is our ability to add new conversion rules inside the tool's core engine, as I already mentioned. That means that we can automate fixes for any issues or customize the conversions to match your specific needs and style, all based on your feedback, on your reports, on your suggestions. So if you want a bit more hands-on guardians, our license plus expert option lets our specialists work alongside with your team, helping apply any unusual cases, unusual steps, handle tricky parts as a part of your team during the migration process. The tool isn't a magic wand, unfortunately, and we are not wizards who can perfectly migrate your database with just a couple of clicks. So even if we hit 90, 99, or 100% of automation, you'll still need some manual tweaks afterwards. Most importantly, the tool doesn't handle testing, so your team will need to review the converted code to ensure that everything works as expected, as it works on the Sybase side. But I need to highlight the good news maybe. The viewing automated converted code is dozens of times faster than doing a full manual migration. And if that hands-on approach doesn't quite fit your needs, and yes, I'll get it, we all want things quicker, less stressful, we can take this heavy lifting off your plate. Yes, we will provide a team of experts to handle the full migration process as a turnkey service. This is what we call the service turnkey option. Everything is done on our side, and your input is mainly for the final acceptance testing. That means that we will convert your database on our side within the timelines maybe you need, run high-level testing, help with the production data migration. Also, we can offer the post-go live support, and your input is still a main key, but mainly for the final acceptance testing, just to verify that the converted code works as expected in your environment. And basically, it's no matter which option you choose, our team will work closely together as one unit, as one team. And the difference is just in the workload on your side. You get to pick what suits you best and what suits your need best.
I got it. So in general, a client or a potential customer has three options: a license plus expert, or fully managed service. And what if I'm not sure which option I would like to prefer? What should I do? Could I sample test it?
That's also the common question. If you're not sure which option you need to choose, you can also reach out to our team to maybe get some meeting or call with our team, with our experts, to see your requirements, maybe your limitation, your timelines, needs, your specific case. We can just suggest your best solution that will be really suitable for your case. We can also provide you our assessment tool that is also free. It's called On-Site Waste tool. I already mention it in my speech. It just collect the metrics about your database, your environment, and provide the reports with a list of the constructs that you have inside the source code, and divide them into the groups of how complex they are and how quickly we can convert them, how many issues will be there while converting. So we can just provide us to us these reports. We can analyze them and provide you with suggestions of how to suits your needs best and provide with some options.
And sorry if I missed this. And also, people can test SQLways tool, request a free demo and try it, how it works, and is it a good option for them? Am I right?
Yes, I'm just forget about this point. Yes, we also can suggest you a trial version of SQLways tool, and it's called trial not because you have the limits of the list of the conversion rules. Yes, it's called trial because you have limitations of number of objects, lines of code, and the timelines. So you just have a trial version to test how it works on your specific source code, how it should be set up on your environment, how you can solve these issues, or how you can reach out to our team to work together as one unit to successfully migrate your project.
Thank you, Anastasia, and thank you for this information you have shared with us. Also, thank you for the demonstration. It was truly insightful and interesting, and I believe it was so for our audience. So I would like to ask our audience, guys, please give us thumb up or some other emoji or sign that it also was interesting for you, or you could share your insights, you could share your emotions with us. It would be really interesting and exciting for us to learn more about your emotions and your insights. And since we've done with the so-called main part of our session, let's turn to questions. If you have any questions, you still have time to drop them in the chat. And I would like to start with the first question. I believe, Anastasia, you have covered this question in your speech, but what happens if we find a conversion bug or unsupported pattern during the project? How fast can Ispirer add custom rules?
Yes, our team treats every identified issue as an opportunity to improve the rule base that we have already with a standard license, custom conversion rules or extensions are typically developed, tested, and integrated within a few business days, often around 3 or 5 days for standard patterns. The process is the common and the basic, I believe. The first step, you just share with us your reports, your issue to our support team for the analysis. Our specialists reproduce this issue on our side and provide a new solution, new pattern to create, extend the rule in our tool score engine. After that step, our testing team just tests new release, new update with already new rule inside of tool score engine, and if it's already successfully ended up successfully with the testing part, we provide you with a new release with the new updated rules inside, so you can just run the tool once again and see that all of the issues will be eliminated, and the automatic conversion rate will be also increased significantly.
Thank you, Anastasia. And we have a question in the chat. Does it use AI to improve conversion ratio? What would you say? Yes.
So let's start first about the AI assistants, I believe. We do have an AI assistant available in our tool, but it's currently implemented in the previous version of SQLways, which is automatically included while you're installing the Ispirer toolkit, basically. To use this AI assistant, you need to have a Gemini API key, and once this key is added, the AI functionality becomes available inside the tool, like in the chat version. So you can just ask this AI assistant about your issue, provide some sample of codes with the issue, and ask how to resolve this error, and this chat will be here to answer. But it's important to note that the core of SQL-based tool conversion engine itself, it doesn't rely on the AI assistance. The conversion process is driven by a large set of transformation rules, and these rules are applied depending on many factors, like including the direction, object type, specific code constructs, dependencies between the objects maybe, and any other parameters. So that's to be short for this answer to this question. Yeah, in Tools Core Engine, there is no AI assistance, AI agent here, but we can you can use AI assistance inside the SQL-based tool as a separate chat, yeah, like a separate colleague, folk, to address your issues. But in our current main production version of SQL-Base, there is no built-in assistance, but our team is already in the process of implementing, of finalizing this feature inside this new version. So you can use AI assistance in view release too.
Thank you, Anastasia. It was a rather detailed response, I believe. And one more question for you. Can SQL-Base migrate just parts of the database without doing the full thing at once? For example, only certain schemas or procedures?
Yes, absolutely. And we fully understand that nowadays the databases can be very large and complex, often containing like thousands, hundreds of objects. Even with the automation, processing everything in a single run may not always be the most convenient and efficient approach. And for this reason, SQL-Base allows you to migrate only specific schema, only specific parts of the database, rather than performing the entire migration in one process, in one scenario. So within the Ispirer SQL-Base, you can organize, like divide your work using project folders and their project folders, yes. And this makes it easy to split the main process into many pieces. For instance, you can divide your process by the conversion of only of this schema, only of this object type, or of this functional model maybe. Each part can be handled as a separate project. The tool also includes search, yes, inside the graphical user interface. So you can just quickly find the objects by schema name or object name and add them to a process.
Okay, great. And I believe the last question for today will be: are there any upcoming webinars planned after this one, and what we are going to do next, Anastasia?
Yes, I believe we all need to know that today's session is just part of a new The Clock is Ticking on Sybase, yes, webinar series that will be focused on the migration to modern platforms from the Sybase ASE. And also, I need to add that upcoming webinars will also cover the InsightWays tool, our separate tool for the assessment stage. Also, you can suggest your themes for the webinars in this chat or through our email to make sure that we will highlight your point, your view, your option in our webinars.
Great idea, actually, Anastasia. So, guys, if you have any ideas for our next sessions, please share them in the comments or reach out to us and suggest your topics that you would like us to cover in our future sessions. We have done it rather quickly, and I have now any other questions, and I can't see any questions in the chat. So I believe we could stop at this moment, and thank you everybody for joining today's session. We hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any remaining questions or would like to test SQL ways, please reach out to us at ispirer.com, and see you at the next session.
Yes, thank you all for your attention. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.